Hello all. So we're back today, and I think what I'm going to be doing is starting a new game in survival. We will call this world Fast to Space, because we are going to be seeing how difficult it really is to get to space when you start on a planet. I usually start in space because that's what I'm comfortable with, but I have started on planets and it hasn't seemed too difficult to get to space, but I honestly think even I'm making it harder than it needs to be. We'll do the general drop pod. I have a feeling it's actually going to be extremely easy to get to space. Not entirely sure, but I think we'll find out quickly that it's not terribly difficult. Even just looking at my ship right now makes me think that it's not going to be that hard because I know some of these blocks have resources on them that I can't build right away. So tearing this down, I might actually have enough to just build a ship that can get me to space. And that was pretty much the plan I proceeded with right up until this point. Oh, is that what I think it is? This is literally the only thing we need, that one hydrogen thruster. Can we actually take... Wait, can we take this pod to space? That hydrogen thruster was hooked up, right? Get out of here, chair. Oh my gosh, it was. All we need is ice. All we have to do is land on an ice lake, and I'm pretty sure we can just take this to space. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so much easier than I thought. We'll do it this way first, but then we're going to respawn with the pod, and we're going to make sure we land on an ice lake, and we're going to just take our pod straight to space, I think. So, oh, I have to progress to build a hydrogen thruster. Okay, the progression is actually going to be the most annoying part. You know what? Let's forget this. Let's first see if we can't just fly our pod to space. So we're just gonna respawn here. In this next attempt, I tried to get to space without ever landing my drop pod, just using the ice that was on board. First, I started by overriding my atmospheric thrusters, and eventually I had to switch to my hydrogen thruster and override that, and it was really finicky. I had to turn it up just so that I wasn't slowing down, and eventually even that failed. I ran out of hydrogen, well, I ran out of ice, and I had to abandon ship. I did manage to fly the rest of the way to space in just my spacesuit, even without using the hydrogen tank that is on board the ship. I grabbed it, but I didn't end up having to use it. So I got to space, but it wasn't the most useful thing. There's no way to build that way, so I decided to try again and actually get to space with the survival kit and everything that you would need to start a base up there. I'm going to respawn again. Hopefully we land near a mountaintop where there's ice, or we land on an ice lake. That's kind of harder to manage, but landing on a mountain where there's ice, I think might be doable. Even just spamming the respawn until you land somewhere where there's ice, it might be the way to go. Okay, well, ideal scenario here. That's what I like to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind a little ice, I'm going to put it in my tank, and we're just going to try and go to space immediately. Probably could have taken control of the parachute to open it closer to the ground if I really wanted to save time, but not particularly worried. I am worried about the fact that I'm not level. Like that's very bad, because I can't rotate. What do I need to build a gyroscope? I need to build a seat, a control seat of some sort. So I would have had to grind my landing gear, re-weld it, and then I had to build maybe a seat of any kind. Does it count if I just grind and re-weld my main seat? No, it has to actually be a control seat. Maybe it actually... A remote control is the cheapest thing to make, and once you... Yeah, this is going to work fine. We don't need the beacon or the antenna, That's for sure. They're just wasting battery power. This ship is so awkward. Let's just grind this thing down. We're going to want to get as much armor off as possible. I was just hoping to try it without doing this first, to see if you even have to do this. I just want to get to some of these blocks that have parts that I need. That I absolutely don't need these parts anymore. Okay, I gotta make the remote control. Focus, Shifty. Build the stupid remote. And I can build the gyroscope. Sure, that's as good of a place as any. Turns out I need motors and steel tubes, so it turns out I'm going to need this anyway. Maybe I didn't have to do that one, but that's the one I chose to grind. I probably could have done a different block that was less useful to me, but I already had ruined that one, so. That's interesting looking. Now that I'm up here, I don't want to get down. Alright, so we have that. Yeah. Let's try and just go to space now. And we have a gyroscope too, so we can even stop when we get there. Okay, I'm just going to throw the materials we don't need, because this will actually weigh us down when we're flying. Items on your character's inventory when you sit in a seat get added to the ship's weight, so we don't want any of those. Unfortunately, when you're on a mountain, I don't think there is a quick trick to get more ice, so it's just going to take me forever to fill up the ice. I take back what I said earlier. If you dig deep enough, you actually do get to ice underneath the snow on a mountain. I didn't know this until just now. I always just assumed you had to be on an ice lake to get good ice, but my inventory actually is filling up significantly faster mining down here than it was in the snowy bits. So definitely go down first, just right click with your drill and go down, and then get the ice from deeper. Don't get snow, get ice. It's so much better. Alright, so that actually looks like all the ice we can fit in our thing. It's not an incredible amount of ice, but we're going to see if having just that much ice is enough. We're going to actually take that and drop it back in the hole. So, well, I suppose we're never coming back here, so maybe it really doesn't matter. I could lighten the ship up significantly more, and we will do that if this doesn't work. I have a feeling this is going to work just fine though. So what we'll do is we'll get in our seat, go to our control, go to our remote control, and we will control the ship from the remote control. So now it's basically like we're in a flight seat. Just set that to unlock. So this will be the on-off of that. And hopefully we don't just roll over. There we go. We get upright. We only have thrusters in one direction, so we're just going to go that direction. And of course that's going to be up. Just level ourselves perfectly with the horizon. And I guess I don't need the thrust override because I actually have the remote control, so I'll just be able to control the thrust with the spacebar. So that was unnecessary. I just need to be able to turn that downward facing thruster on. Having the extra atmospheric thruster would help too, because that would get us much higher before we have to turn on our hydrogen thruster. This might be a good way to start. This might be one of my new favorite ways to start the game. I always do the space pod start because you start with enough materials to make a large grid spaceship that's ion based, which is super strong. It's a completely unbalanced start in my opinion. You should start in space in a small grid ship, like this pod or something, right? I think it's completely unbalanced that you start with more than that when you start in space. So that's something I think they should change. But I think it's one of the options that it's an old option, and I don't think they're likely to change it because there's a lot of people that really like playing the game that way. So we actually got to 0.79 or something before we had to turn on our hydrogen thrusters. I'm talking about the planetary gravity. That's all we really need to be looking at right now is planetary gravity. And I'm just going to pulse the hydrogen thruster on and off. We're leaving the atmospheric thrusters on because they were still helping us up to a point. They might still be helping us actually, so we're going to just leave them on this entire time. And we'll just pulse the hydrogen thruster on and off to maintain speed. But never over thrust. Like, you shouldn't be thrusting if you're at max speed because you're just wasting fuel. So we have a long ways to go, but we're already at half planetary gravity. So fuel consumption is going to drop rapidly. And I don't think we'll have any issue with how much ice we were able to pack into this. As you can see, we have really used hardly any ice. We were at like 2.6 or 2 point something. We're still at 2.4 thousand ice. It's pretty good. We need to get to 40,000 meters about to get out of Earth. I don't exactly know what the other planets are, but I'm fairly certain that if this is doable on Earth, it's doable just about anywhere else. Per tam, you don't have to go as far to get out. It's going to be harder to land somewhere with ice. On Earth, you just have to land somewhere with mountains, so it's okay. The alien planet has more gravity too, I think. Gosh, I actually don't ever play on planets, so they're not something I'm particularly familiar with, all the different gravities and whatnot on the planets. But I don't think you have to get any further out of that planet. If you do have to get further out of that planet and there's more gravity, it might be the hardest one to get out of. But just start on Earth if you really want to try this. It's going to be very doable. I can already tell. I have tons of ice left. I'm going to have plenty of ice to maneuver to an asteroid and land. Let's start thinking about which asteroid we're going to go to. I think that one over there looks nice, just because it looks close and it looks like it's outside of gravity based on where we are now. I think driving there is going to be extremely awkward though. That's going to be the hardest part of this whole mission, is it's going to be landing softly on an asteroid with one thruster. Alright, let's start heading to an asteroid. Let's see how difficult that is. Unfortunately, I'm going to be thrusting straight up, so I won't be able to tell if I'm going directly at something. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to use the fact that Space Engineers has a max speed to just get all of our momentum going in one direction. I'm not out of gravity yet, so we'll wait to turn our inertial dampeners on until we're out of gravity. I was kind of hoping to thrust a little bit more towards this one. The fact that I can't see it means I'm going towards it. That's kind of an unsettling way to fly, but that's how we're doing it. Alright, we are out of gravity, so I successfully got to space using this this method, which is pretty awesome. I thought I was going to actually have to build my own ship of some sort, but it turns out you can just build or you can just use your starter pod to do it very easily. You just need ice. That's all you need, and you can go to space. Don't have to build anything. You have to grind and re-weld a landing gear, grind and re-weld, oh no, you don't need to do the seat. Grind and re-weld the landing gear, and then you have to grind a few things down to build a remote control, then you can build a gyroscope. And you don't even need the gyroscope to get to space. It's just if you want to maneuver around once you get to space, you're going to need the gyroscope because you only have one thruster. And you want to get your landing gear pointed towards an asteroid so that when you touch it, you stop. That asteroid looks close. Let's kind of go that direction. And I'm gonna not go super fast because, and what we'll do it once we are kind of going that direction, we won't jump out of our seat, but we'll hit V and we'll look straight at the asteroid. Now, unfortunately, I have to get back in the remote control. So this is how you get to like fly straight at something when you have one thruster. You get going in that direction kind of, and then you just put your inertial dampener on and spin, and it'll stop you from going any of the side directions. Now I'm just going straight at this thing, which is exactly what we want. And when I get close to it, I will spin and I will put my bottom facing it, and hopefully we'll slow down real quick. And I'll be able to just drift in at, I probably have to be going like 5 meters per second or less or something to really make a nice land. We're not quite going exactly at it how I want to, so I'm going to just adjust a little bit. I kind of want to hit this tip. And I'm going to just spin again. When you no longer hear your thruster going off, that's how you know you've pretty much gotten rid of all your weird side velocity. So right now my thruster turns on, and I'm just going to keep spinning to make sure it stops. I'm going to preemptively slow down so that I don't like go to slow and miss it or come in too fast. Okay, now we're going at a speed I find acceptable. I'm going to face it again. Let's see, this is actually a little slow. I want to go a little faster than that. We'll go 5 meters per second-ish. I'm going to face it again and do this. Oh, wow, I'm really losing speed. Well, I'm pretty much guaranteed to land on it safely now. I've lowered my velocity to 2 meters per second. It means it's going to take a literal eon to get there, but I'm going to land at 2 meters per second, and as long as I do this spin enough, I won't, like, I'm never going to miss it. I'm getting rid of all my weird side velocity. I can turn my inertial dampeners off, and I can just face the bottom of my ship straight at it. Let's spin a little, because we're going to get one shot at this landing. Make sure your landing gear is still on auto lock, so that you get that. But pretty much with that, there's one more thing we need to do, and then we're golden, and that's to merge block this. The other option at this point is to just go ahead and set up a base. If you think you're not gonna like disconnect or something for an extended period and have this despawn on you, you can just start building your own temporary base right on the asteroid here. That actually might be the best thing to do. Can I build merge blocks? What do I need to do? Can I make small steel tubes with this? I actually can't, so I need to steal small steel tubes from something. Is there anything on this craft that has small steel tubes? I really thought we'd be able to merge block, but you need small steel tubes to merge block. Oh, I can't believe it. Well, it was almost perfect. I guess what you'll have to do, because you can't merge block this, is you just start building something new. And you just move it all over. That's what it comes down to. Because this is going to get deleted unless you merge block it to another grid. I could build like the small refinery and all that, and like work on all that, but it's just going to be faster to just build a new battery, put your solar panel on a new thing. Like, all you need is solar panel, battery, survival kit, and you're good to go up here. I'm not going to go through doing that because it's pretty straightforward. You just make the stuff. You make the stuff in the survival kit. You do the battery and the solar panel first, and then once you have that set somewhere, you probably just do a landing gear and then put those on top so then it won't move. You weld up the landing gear. You just take the one off this, put it over here, and then make a new battery, make a new solar panel, put them on the landing gear, and then you grind this survival kit and put it on that. And then you got a base set up in space. So, pretty easy. Way easier than I thought it would be. I actually didn't know that you had everything you needed on your starter ship to just go to space, but you do. I think that's going to be all for this video. Hopefully you learned something new. I certainly did. If you want to find out more about building small ships that can get you to space, check out the video linked up above. If you're wondering why I'm not wearing my lime green striped pajamas, it's because I was just doing screenshots for a couple of my rovers I built. I built them for an ice scenario, ice mining scenario that never got published, but I decided to throw the ships up on the workshop. They're kind of cool. They are prop ships, but they're functional, so they're kind of fun to play around with. Not the most useful things, I think, in survival, but they would work in survival. They're just not super convenient to recharge. Either way, that's all for now. See ya.